voudrais... I'm going to switch to English. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank a lot all the teams that are working very hard since a number of weeks and maybe months to prepare everything and to make our meeting at high level and have all these wonderful facilities and comfort to be here in Tanger, the wonderful city in northern part of Morocco. And please, if it's your first time in this wonderful city, and even if you already visited the region and the city, as you are here, takes a couple of hours, maybe one day, and go meet people, discover the region, discover how people are kind here, and as all over in the country, but also discover all the facilities and infrastructures that you can see just close to here, the port of Tanger. You are going to be really surprised how Morocco has done wonderful work and job for his population. Don't hesitate to discover nice people, nice region, and also nice cuisine. Ladies and gentlemen, as for every opening ceremony, we have a guest of honor. Today we are going all together to welcome His Excellency, the President, Dr. George Weah from Liberia.
You may have your seats. Madam Claire Marie Weah, the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ministers, officials of government of the Kingdom of Morocco here present, the President and officials of the Amadeus Institute, representatives of trade and investment organizations, representatives of business establishment, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, representatives of international organizations and partners, distinguished delegates, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasing honor to join you in these 14 editions of the MEDays International Forum and to bring you a very warm greetings from the friendly and loving people of the Republic of Liberia. I extend our warmest greetings and appreciation to my brother, His Majesty King Mohammed VI, King of the Kingdom of Morocco, and the government and great people of this kingdom, for the very warm reception extended my delegations and me, and for the excellent arrangement made for our comfort and security since our arrival in this historic city of Tanger. This warm reception underlines the cordial and friendly relations subsisting between our two brotherly nation states. I would also like to thank His Excellency Mr. Nasser Bourata, Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Cooperation and Moroccan expatriates of the Kingdom of Morocco, and Mr. Brahim Fassi Ferrer, President of the Amadeus Institute, for the vision to host this all-important gathering where we are expected to do soul searching, about our existing conditions in a world that is clearly in turmoil. It is my hope, and I'm sure that it is also the hope of all participants here, that we will come out of these deliberations with strong and applicable actions, points that will take us on a guaranteed path to a more peaceful, secure, and a stable world. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the basis of what we shall strive to achieve out of the 14 editions of this forum was laid out during the first edition, which was held in Tanger in 2008. And the median editions, MEDays, laid the foundations of mutual cooperation and trust amongst peoples in the African, Mediterranean, and North American sphere. These foundations, I'm convinced, remain solid and unbreakable, and it is a solid foundation on which we should build our future plans for mutual cooperation, integration, and peaceful coexistence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world today that is beset by seemingly unending chaos and insurmountable crises, which have threatened the very core of the international order. These range from pandemics such as HIV and AIDS, Ebola, the Zika, and COVID-19, to monkeypox and still unknown others that are yet to come, to natural disaster caused by climate change, and to wars and rumors of war, with now even the added threats of nuclear war. These various crises are creating political instabilities and uncertainties across the world. And sometimes the search for lasting solutions seems hopeless and futile. But the advantage we have as human is our possessions of the power of rationality and our resistance to face adversity, no matter how insurmountable they may be or seem. It is on this basis that the theme of this 14th edition, From Crisis to Crisis, towards a new global order, is relevant, topical, and truly meaningful, because this is the reality that we now face. The harsh fact is that we have not had time to recover from these various crises because they keep coming at us in rapid succession, hitting us like repeated waves from an endless tsunami. Our assembly here today is intended to reverse these crises that continue to plague us. For example, the global health has been threatened to its very foundation by pandemics, which have even violated our fundamental rights to freedom of movement. The global economy has been thrown into chaos as a combined result of the direct impact of pandemics and the war in Ukraine. In West Africa, democratic governance is facing its worst challenge with the twin threats of terrorism and the resurgence of military coups d'etat. These crises have led to our people fleeing their countries for greener pasture and safe haven abroad, only to endure not only hardships and suffering, but also inhumane treatment of their journey, as well as upon arrival at the destination where they have hoped to find welcome and refuge. Many have lost their lives along the way and have perished without graves in the harsh condition of the Mediterranean seas. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, no country is an island. We live in an independent world driven by enormous gains in science and technology. We should understand each other and act in concert to overcome our challenges in order to make the world a more peaceful and happier place. We have an obligation and duty to save our planet from disaster. Our collective experience of living in a world of crisis should therefore drive our collective resolve to close ranks in cooperation and collaboration in order to confront together the doubting challenges facing us in such times of adversity. We should draw closer to each other and use our collective strength to overcome the challenges we face. It is therefore my plea to us all that we should combine our knowledge, resources, and strength to end this crisis in order to restore order, peace, and stability to our one world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the situation of Africa in this global crisis is a cause for grave concern. We in Africa remain challenged in so many ways, which include, but not limited to, the threats of international terrorism, which are now being concentrated in our various regions. Currently, in the Sahel, which contains the largest portion of West Africa, has become a playground of international terrorists, with a line of terrorist operations that runs from the western borders of the Mali all the way down to Cameroon. In addition to the terroristic activities, there are many armed conflicts that are beginning to be seen between various African countries. The conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea, the conflict between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Somalia, and Rwanda, the conflict in Mozambique, as well as some parts of the Central African Republic, are some of the examples that come to mind. We are therefore constrained to ask the question, why are we fighting each other? Why are we fighting each other? Are we not brothers and sisters? So why are brothers killing brothers? Should we not be our brothers' keepers? As if the scourge of terrorism is not enough, we are beginning to experience waves of military coups d'etats and other forms of unconventional and unconstitutional means of assuming state power, which is totally against the spirits, core values, and principles of democratic culture. The advantage of desertifications and coastal degradations, which is influenced by climate change, is equally taking a heavy toll on Africa. The recent unprecedented flooding in Nigeria, Chad, and Sudan, among others, are clear indications that we are beginning to lose the climate change battle. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic on our economy is also cause for concern. The pandemic occasions a slowdown in the pace of growth of many of our African economies as potential investors folded up their businesses and left. The companies shut down, which led to unprecedented increase in unemployment. We cannot pretend to be contented with these negatives and still believe that we are secure and stable. With the theme of this forum in mind, Liberia calls for more sustained and concerted collaborations among nation states to address these major crises around the world. On the war between Russia and Ukraine, I would like to call on the members of the international community to use every means of diplomacy to bring this unfortunate conflict to an end. The global disruptions occasioned by this war have far-reaching consequences for all of our economies and all of our people, including food insecurity, supply chain delays, and rising inflation, to mention a few. I once served as a peace ambassador for UNICEF, and later in my career, I was appointed and served as peace ambassador by the Liberian government even while I was in opposition. These roles were a pivotal importance in bringing about disarmament, demobilizations, and rehabilitation of young ex-combatants in the Liberia Civil War. I am convinced that peace can prevail in Ukraine if the parties give it an impartial chance. I feel the pains of the women and children, the young and the elderly, and all these defenseless civilians who are ongoing casualties of war. The war in Ukraine should not be allowed to go on while the rest of the world sit and watch. Let us give peace a chance. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Africa looks forward to sustained investment in the health sector, in building pharmaceutical plants where quality and affordable drugs can be produced by the African market. We also seek partnership for investment in the energy and infrastructure sector. Liberia would like to encourage investors to utilize the virgin nature of our investment climate to engage in portfolio business venture of mutual benefit to our economy. Our fertile soils are ready for mechanized agriculture that could enhance food security. The technology sector also remains untouched in most African countries, including Liberia. We seek investment in fiber optic backbones that could strengthen the communication sector and give a further boost to our economy. Liberia is endowed with enormous potential to transform itself into a strong economic giant for all of its citizens and the world at large. Such potential, which includes maritime transports, air services, port development and expansion, development and explorations of the offshore minerals to include oil and gas, as well as solid minerals amongst others, could be realized through strong cooperation and joint venture initiative with prospective investors. We encourage value addition in our investment portfolio, as this will result into more sustainable job creation for our ever-growing youth populations. Liberia is also a member of various sub-regional bodies on the African continent, such as the Economic Community of West African States, the Community of Saharan States, the West African Economic and Monetary Union, the Economic Community of Central African States, the Economic and Monetary Community of Central Africa, and the Southern African Development Community. Accordingly, prospective investors in the Liberian economy will enjoy all of the benefit of Liberia's membership in these organizations. We also want to encourage investment in a particular project, the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline, which will connect Nigeria gas to every coastal country in West Africa up to the Mediterranean shore. We are convinced that this large-scale energy project will immensely boost the region's economic integration and benefit all the nations involved by unlocking their industrial potential and curbing the energy deficit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia wishes to emphasize that this new, more operational and more mutually beneficial North-South cooperation started by the Amadeus Institute more than a decade ago will be the key to meeting our own challenges, as well as building greater autonomy and self-sufficiency to strengthen our resilience to external shocks. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that this forum will continue to work together to ensure that the points being discussed and the conclusions reached at the end of this forum will be transformed into concrete actions of implementation for the continuing development of Africa and for the betterment of the world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish you well in your deliberation. I thank you for your kind attention. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Dr. George Weah. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for sharing these guidelines with us in this forum here in Tanger. And thank you very much for inviting investors and business people to come to Liberia and try to trade and invest and do a lot of things. Mr. President, allow me just to say one thing. Thank you for being very simple, because your question about why are we fighting each other may bring us all together to be conscious that we can do things so differently in our continent. We have so hostile environment and so threats that we need to work together to build a better future for our populations and our citizens. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to hear your speech here in Tanger.